The most exciting thing right now for me that I see is the potential to resolve a 60-year-old problem, which is get rid of the gas flares. So that's the Nigerian gas flare commercialization program.
Potential.
The potential to stop the flaring of about 700 million standard cubic feet of gas, which is as much gas that we use today to produce power. So if you can actually capture that much, and you can actually use that much gas for several other productive uses, you'd have done the country a whole world of good.
There are reports that the country loses about 2.5 billion naira annually to gas flaring. It's not news, like you said, it's a 60-year-old problem, like you also mentioned. At this point, this is 2018, April. Can you talk us through the specific strategic steps that Nigeria is taking to curb or to put an end to gas flaring once and for all, so it never becomes an issue to talk about?
It's close to $2 billion a year. There's an opportunity cost to all that gas that's being flared. So you lose that opportunity. You lose also the potential for close to $1 billion per annum of GDP impact from the many projects that could be done through gas flare elimination.
What would you say are the issues really? Is it a lack of political willpower to end it, like it's being reported in many quarters, or are there some other things that even the media is not talking about?
There are many reasons why gas has been flared. First of all, in some of the flare sites, you don't have infrastructure anywhere near those flare sites. So that's a problem. It becomes very expensive to put in the typical or the cookie-cutter infrastructure. But now it is possible to actually use technology that could actually take that gas away. You could actually barge some of this flare gas, or you could actually, produce power for the operations as well. But there's more. There's the other reasons. The other reasons, of course, is that the current gas flare penalty, right, is so low that it basically encourages continued gas flaring. So if you're charging 10 per 1,000 standard cubic feet of gas per day, it's literally nothing. So your signal there is, please keep flaring. Now what's worse, if you now allow the operator to offset that penalty from the petroleum profits tax liability. So in effect, you're basically creating a moral hazard, right, from that. Then also, some flares are so small that some operators don't have the business model or the operating model to do anything about some of these flares. Whereas there's some small third-party investors who are specialized in winning and taking away small gas volumes.
So there are indeed structural and policy issues as far as curbing gas flaring goes.
Yes, there are legal, structural, policy issues around this.
So are we seeing a reworking of these policies? Are we seeing new policies in the work?
Well, first of all, there's the national gas policy, which is basically pitched very strongly around the will of the government to address this problem. That will has been backed up by the President ratifying Nigeria's commitment to the Paris Climate Change Agreement. Furthermore, we have now designed a new regulatory framework around gas flaring, which will become law anytime now. And once that becomes law, then we're going to basically move to implementation. And implementation involves a bidding process where we're basically going to bid out these gas flares to willing third parties who have the technical, operational, and financial ability to capture gas flares and to use them for different products.
When you say framework, do we have a bill in the works already?
There's a regulation that's been drafted, which is basically awaiting the approval of the President. I also mentioned there's a bill also that's been prepared by the National Assembly. That's the flare gas prohibition bill.
Has it been read already on the floor?
It's gone through first reading, and it will any time now go through the second.
So talk us through your thoughts at this point on exploring gas to power, the potentialities for Nigeria.
Well, the Nigerian demand for gas is almost unlimited. What we're facing today is to try to understand how effective that demand is, i.e. the ability of the consumer to pay for power that's produced. Through the multi-year tariff order that has been implemented by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, we're seeing some level of acceptance through some demand segments. We're also seeing some levels of rejection, right, as well from consumers. I guess what we'll need is to have a more effective collection system so that those who truly are able to pay, right, actually do pay. There's some loose structure in that revenue collection management system. And until we're able to actually sort that out, we're going to have this payment on indiscipline problem in the power sector, which ultimately hits the gas sector as well, because you're going to have defaults in the payment for gas. So we need to sort that out.
Now, the policies being worked out, are there some of them that are tailored towards addressing issues regarding the expansion of the use of gas?
Yes, there are even a couple of policies that are currently under development that will help us get to more absolute demand for gas. We're trying to see how we can pitch gas more effectively against what we call white products. This is what they're typically known as the petroleum products, such that if we can pitch gas more competitively, then the demand for gas, demand for products will shift into gas. And then that will send a signal even up to the upstream to produce more gas. And then we can now start using more gas now for transportation systems and more industrial plants and power plants as well.